Donald Trump's White House has faced non-stop scandals and failures, and now there's another one. While his cognitive decline has been discussed, his physical health is clearly worsening too. A recent photo made that obvious, and when Carolyn Leavitt was asked about it, she panicked and tried to deflect. Now, before we can get into the lie that Leavitt got caught in about Trump's health, we have to start with his mental decline, which was perfectly broken down by Lawrence O'Donnell. Right here.
To that question, how long will the detainees be here? He said, I'll spend a lot of time here. I want to, for 4 years, I've got to be in Washington. I'm okay with it because I love the White House. I even fixed up the little Oval Office. I made it. It's like a diamond. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It wasn't maintained properly, I will tell you that. But even when it wasn't, it was still the Oval Office. So it meant a lot. But I'll spend as much time as I can here. My vacation is generally here because it's convenient. I live in Palm Beach. It's my home, and I have a very nice little place, nice little cottage to stay at, right? But we have a lot of fun, and I'm a big contributor to Florida. Pay a lot of tax. Let me just pause here for a second to note that the state of Florida has zero state income tax, unlike the state of New York, which he left. So no, he doesn't pay a lot of tax in Florida. Donald Trump kept talking. I'm a big contributor to Florida. I pay a lot of tax. And a lot of people moved from New York. And I don't know what New York is going to do. A lot of people moved to Florida from New York, and it was for a lot of reasons. But one of them was taxes. The taxes are so high in New York. They're leaving. I don't know what New York is going to do about that, because some of the biggest, wealthiest people and some of the people that pay the most taxes of any people anywhere in the world, for that matter, they're moving to Florida and other places. So we're going to have to help some of these states out, I think. But thank you very much. I'll be here as much as I can. Very nice question. He's not there. There's a character named Donald Trump with a red hat and orange makeup who shows up at these events and words come out of his mouth, but he's not there. His mind, as exhibited from that response to that very simple question, does not work. And that is a crisis for the United States of America.
I started with that clip from Lawrence because he's one of the few in the mainstream media willing to talk about Donald Trump's clear cognitive decline. The man in the White House is visibly unraveling while accumulating more executive power than anyone before him. And that should concern all of us. What's even more alarming is how Trump's inner circle feels free to go around him, knowing he's not fully aware of what's happening in his own administration. Pete Hegseth on Ukraine and Stephen Miller on immigration are just two examples. They act behind his back because they know he's not mentally present. The media needs to be honest about this. No matter how Carolyn Leavitt tries to spin it, when she was asked about Trump's health recently, her response raised serious red flags, especially in light of what we saw yesterday. This clip is right here.
Releasing the president's fitness plan, he actually looks healthier than ever before. Healthier than he did 8 years ago, and I'm sure everybody in this room could agree. Is he working out with Bobby Kennedy, and is he eating less McDonald's?
I can confirm the president is in very good shape, as you see, on a near daily basis here. And in that vein, thank God it's Friday. It's been a very long and busy week here at the White House. We will see you all on Monday, and we will release the results of that report as soon as we can. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you.
So, Donald Trump is in perfect health, and he's laying off the McDonald's. That's what Carolyn Love says, because he's been working out with RFK, and he's doing great. But that's just not the case. And as of lately, I've seen Donald Trump's physical health deteriorate a lot. He continues to ask reporters to repeat their questions more than ever. It's something I've certainly picked up on, and he just has a certain walk about him. The slurring of the words gets worse. His physical posture is broken, and if you look closely, you can tell how beat up he is. It is getting bad. This story broke it down, and Leavitt's response got caught. White House tries to shake off Trump's bizarre hand makeup. The mysterious, reoccurring bruise on the back of Donald Trump's right hand reappeared on Tuesday, prompting a fresh wave of concern over the president's health. Trump, 79, was spotted with a healthy dose of flesh-cold concealer on his hand as he was photographed boarding Marine One after the White House on his way to Pittsburgh. Trump was speaking to reporters about Vladimir Putin when a cameraman spotted his hand and zoomed in for a closer look. As we can see right here, there's clearly a dent or a bruise being covered up with very different makeup on Trump's hand. White House press secretary told the Daily Beast that the bruise is due to the president's serial handshaking. When asked if any medical reasons could explain the bruise, Leavitt said, "Donald Trump is a man of the people, and he meets more Americans and shakes their hands on a daily basis than any other president in history. His commitment is unwavering, and he proves that every single day." Leavitt made similar comments last month. The president also said the bruise was a work-related injury in time last December. "It's from shaking hands with thousands of people," he said in February. Speculation over Trump's discolored hand reemerged when it was noticed during a meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron. Dr. Neil H. Patel, a doctor at Providence St. Joseph Hospital, told the Daily Mail earlier this year that shaking hands is unlikely to have caused the damage. "I have seen a lot of patients who are businessmen, and I have never really seen them getting bruising from too much handshaking." He said, "I guess it's possible, but that would really not be on my list of ideas of what causes it." Patel suggested it could be a bruise from the use of an IV needle. Other doctors have said of Trump's age that may be a factor, especially if he is also suffering from osteoporosis. So clearly, there is something wrong with Donald Trump, and clearly, we're not getting the full picture from Carolyn Leavitt, who just wants to brush this off as Donald Trump is trying to with every other scandal plaguing his administration right now. But it does highlight something that Donald Trump also doesn't want us to be talking about: health care. How, of course, as president and as a wealthy individual, he's always had access to the best health care in the world. Well, he just stole it from 17 million people. Again, we can talk about all these stories without only focusing on what matters. These things are interconnected. And Senator John Oaff, who spoke to how many of his constituents are losing health care, delivered a pretty brutal takedown of Trump with Jen Psaki.
This is the same administration that has just defunded hospitals, clinics, nursing homes in order to cut taxes for the wealthy after running a populist campaign that was supposed to be about the interests of the working class. This is the same administration that promised to lower prices on day one. Prices are still rising. It's the same administration that promised to end these wars overseas. The wars are still raging. And so, you're seeing a lot of disappointment and consternation among the president's base, not just because of this Epstein matter, but because this is an administration that is passing legislation to support the elite and the wealthy, and that is failing to make good on a whole lot of its commitments.
I just played a couple of clips of Democrats making this argument, which I agree is quite accurate, that they ran as the party of the anti-elite party. Trump ran as the anti-elite party. And now it seems he's exactly that. I mean, he's always exactly been that, but he's almost being caught by his own base. Do you think that's a good argument? You're actually out there on the campaign trail. You're running for re-election. Is that a good argument that people are identifying with?
Yeah, I mean, this guy's trying to rule the country from his golden palace in Florida and accepting, flying palaces from foreign despots, which he intends to keep after his presidency. His son-in-law has taken $2 billion from the Saudi royal family. His two boys are flying all over the world, cutting deals and closing deals right before he touches down on state visits. He's got foreign billionaire oligarchs under federal investigation funneling tens of millions of dollars into his businesses while he sits in the White House and grants them audiences in exchange for that money. And I would say to the president's supporters, go and fact check everything I just said. I mean, it's stunning the depth of corruption and how the policy focus is entirely on the interests of the elite benefactors of his campaign and the GOP. And I think in Georgia, where we've lost nearly a dozen rural hospitals in the last 15 years, where healthcare shortages are widespread, where 70% of seniors in nursing homes depend upon Medicaid, the rubber meets the road when you pass a multi-trillion-dollar budget and you throw working class and middle class families under the bus. It's a political disaster for them in Georgia, and it's a disaster for my constituents' health and well-being.
What do you make? I just played this clip, or I just talked about this clip of Senator Josh Hawley, who basically said, he started to walk back from his support for the bill within a week of voting for the bill. Now he says he wants to propose legislation that would kind of halt some of the Medicaid cuts. What do you make of that? What does that tell you?
Look, he was making all this noise about opposing these Medicaid cuts, and then, like most of them, rolled over under pressure because they live in fear of the White House. They live in fear of retaliation from the president, as Senator Lisa Murkowski has said publicly. But Senator Tillis stood there on the Senate floor and he admonished his Republican colleagues. He said, look, 600,000 plus North Carolinians are going to get thrown off Medicaid if you pass this bill. The president's breaking his promises on Medicaid. He did something courageous and they ran him right out of the Republican Party for it. No Georgia Republicans in Congress had the courage to stand up for the health and welfare of my constituents, our constituents in Georgia. They put loyalty to Trump over loyalty to our state. Those are some of the same folks who want to run for this U.S. Senate seat. And by the way, I need help from folks across the country to defend this U.S. Senate seat, and they can help at electjohn or electjon.com.
It was very smooth. I did want to ask you another question about your Senate run. You did a rally where the reception, I can just describe, I've been around politics a long time, is much closer to weeks before an election. It felt to me, watching the video, than as far out as we are. What are you hearing most from people? One of the challenges with this big ugly bill, as I like to call it, is a lot of people didn't know a lot about it, which is an opportunity in its own way. Do people know about it? What are you hearing most about their concerns as you're traveling around Georgia?
I've never seen opposition energy like this before. And folks remember my story, right? I ran in that 2017 special election in Georgia, the first big race of the Trump era, and then Senator Warnock and I were elected together in those historic doubleheader overtime runoffs in 2021. Really high energy moments. I've never seen it like this before. Thousands of people are coming out to events that I'm hosting a year and a half before the election. And it's not me, it's the moment. It's the fact that our republic is in peril. This administration is looting the country on behalf of its donors. The level of corruption is something unprecedented in American history, and people are ready to take action.
Senator Jon Ossoff, thank you so much for joining me. I know you're busy and you're barely sleeping.
We have a vote in just a second, but I wanted to come see you.
I'm grateful for you stopping by. We're just across the street, so thank you for stopping by.
So much.
Congratulations on the new addition to your.
It's important Democrats connect these stories. Epstein is not just scandal, it's about betrayal and class. Trump, like other billionaires, is protected while regular people face the system wrath. He keeps escaping justice because of power and connection. That's the real theme here, and it's one we will keep highlighting. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit the subscribe button and leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around at the end, you can drop the blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.